So welcome everybody to a special episode here of the ninth grade experience. It's going to focus not just on ninth grade, but on the entire Emmaus High School here as we get ready to enter into Career Readiness Month here at the high school. March has kind of become the Career Readiness Month here. Last year, if you remember, we did an episode with Mrs. Grimm and with Mr. McInerney and Mrs. Demchek about Career Readiness Month. And as I'm sure all of us remember, we made it about midway through that month, and things haven't been the same since. So we're back again, ready to do Career Readiness Month again. And we're joined by Mrs. Grimm here from the counseling office that's going to give us all the rundown for everything. So Mrs. Grimm, thanks a lot for joining us today.
I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
And, you've been on a couple different times this year. So if you are wondering Mrs. Grimm's ninth grade experience story, you can go back and listen to some of her earlier episodes here on the podcast. She's becoming a quite frequent guest now. I think, what is this, 3 or 4 for you?
3 or 4.
So, you're just coming on with good stuff. So I think, we got to keep bringing you on. As long as you keep doing good things, we got to keep bringing you on. Plus, we're going to talk about an offer at the end of the show here for some participation in Career Readiness Month that, will also hopefully entice you to want to keep coming back on and keep listening. So we're going to just give a little bit of a rundown here on what Career Readiness Month was going to look like here at the high school. I know in the past we've had speakers come in, but obviously we're not doing that this year. So can you give the students and parents and even the staff that's listening just the quick, what is Career Readiness Month of 2021 going to look like this year?
So as you said, we've had to be a little bit creative this year with how we're doing Career Month because of there being so many students who are remote and because of all of the different restrictions with the pandemic. We're trying to make sure that we're still providing support, we're still providing resources for students to help them find their chosen career path. So for our career speakers this year, what we're doing is we're providing a virtual visit with them, kind of similar to anyone who participated in one of our virtual college visits in the fall. So it will be a small group setting where the career speaker, who is a professional from throughout the Lehigh Valley, will talk a little bit about their experience. They'll talk about why they got into the career that they did. They'll talk about any challenges that they faced along the way. They may talk about what specific classes they took in college or even in high school, and just again provide information about what that career is so that any students who are thinking along those lines can get more information, can ask questions of them. We are trying to host them all at 1:30 so that students aren't missing any class time. Those students who are also hybrid hopefully have enough time to get home so that they're able to log into that virtual visit. So we're really trying to make it so that as many students as possible can participate in these visits.
I think that's really cool because I know in years past they've been all scattered throughout the day, and if you had to miss one, you had to either sign out of a class or hope that it was near a free time in your day. But I think that 1:30 time slot seems to fit a lot of the student needs at this point. And I know it kind of stinks if you're moving back and forth between home and the building, but hopefully that's not. Hopefully you can still catch some of the information from there as well. So I think that's a really cool way that they're doing it this year to get as many people involved. And, even though our focus is ninth grade, we want to make sure that everyone in the building understands that this is something that you can participate in. It's not like somebody that's just a senior getting ready to graduate or a junior, but, every student here at Emmaus High School can start thinking about a career or career readiness. There's no limit on to the grade level. So anyone. Yep.
It's really helpful for our ninth graders who are trying to think about what classes they should be taking over the course of the next 3 years, as well as for our 10th and 11th graders. Because, for example, if you do have an interest in anything with medical, you're going to want to think about taking anatomy at some point. So, thinking about what career path you want to pursue is a good thing to do whatever age you are so that you can connect it to classes that you're taking here at the high school.
And that's a good point because usually around this time of the year, kids have already handed in their course registration stuff. But because of our setup this year, kids are still going to get to pick some of their classes throughout March. So to have maybe you go to see a speaker or maybe you kind of make that realization like, hey, I want to do video game design, which I think one of the people talks about that during one of the things like, hey, like what are some classes maybe at EHS that I would have to take in order to make that a reality? Or it's a little past the LCTI deadline, but maybe your curiosity is streaked about LCTI too. And maybe you try to wiggle your way into there as well too. So I think it's a unique opportunity this year to be able to tie in some of those classes that you could pick to potentially career oriented things going down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's part of our hope, because again, we want to give as much information as possible.
So if I'm, last year I remember, and I still remember they, because they were up even when we had to come back into the building to like hand some stuff in, the large posters all around the school that
Yeah.
had the big calendar on it. We came back in, it was May. I think we were allowed in for like one day, and I walked past the hallway where the big calendar was, and I knew we made it to like, March 12th, and that was kind of depressing. But so how will students this year know maybe when the speakers are, the calendar? Because the calendar has been, I think, put on the Schoology pages already, so
Yeah.
students have access to it. But if I'm interested in something, A, where do I find the information about who's speaking? And B, how do I sign up to do one of the events?
So it's a great question. We actually have the information in a few different places. So you will find the information on every grade level Schoology page in the updates. You're going to see the links and everything there with directions of how to sign up, which is done using Naviance. In addition to that, every week we are putting whoever's coming as a speaker for the following week, we're putting that on the morning announcements. So for example, you should be seeing information about who's going to be speaking the first week of March on the morning announcements. And then there will also be emails sent out through Naviance to students and parents about who's coming for the next week. So we're putting the information out there in various different ways so that students and parents can see who's coming and what they're going to be talking about. But I would say go through Schoology, look at the updates there, and you're going to be able to see the link for the calendar. On the calendar too, it has the links for the bios of the speakers. So if you look at one and you're like, okay, well, I don't know exactly what that means, or like, for human resource director or something like that, click on the link for the bio, look at what the person's story is, and see if that's a good one for you to sign up for. Then just go into your Naviance account. Naviance is in your EHS bookmarks folder, so it's really easy to find. And then you would just click on the college visits, and you would sign up for the visit that way.
And clicking through the speaker bios is really an interesting thing, even if you don't go to any of the presentations, but you should go to as many as you can. But just looking through the bios of some of the people, it's really neat to see those different career the paths that people took to arrive at careers. So many times we think that there's only like one way to get to whatever you want to do. And a lot of the speakers that are in, that will be presenting during March kind of show that, there's lots of different ways to get to a job, or, so many different experiences lead to, a job. And a lot of them even talk about different ways that they're involved in their community now that's not even related to their job. So they have a way of, even if they're interested in a specific thing, that maybe it's not part of their job, but as they have evolved in their career, they have more time to kind of give back to different community events. So I would
Yeah.
definitely recommend checking out the bios for all the different speakers as well too.
Absolutely. I mean, that's one thing that I say. My first career was not in school counseling. So it took me 2 careers to get here. And as you said, things can change. But outside of school, I also do a lot of volunteer work and fundraising because that's something that I enjoy, but doesn't really relate to my job necessarily. So seeing what's written in those bios can be very helpful. And I think that's a great point, just to kind of see what their different stories are.
And also too, since you shared, I'll share that teaching was not my first career either. I was a journalism major in college. I wrote for a newspaper in Westchester, Pennsylvania called the Daily Local News. I was a sports reporter. I did that for 2 years. And then I got into teaching. And, now I do this podcast about 15 years later after my last article was written in a newspaper, because this is something that excites me. It's something about what I studied in school, what I'm interested in, and being able to use that in a different way now as well too. So again, if you're listening and you're like, I'm so confused about my career, where I may be going, if you're a senior, like coming down to the end here, like you're not married to a career choice just because of what you're picking right now.
Correct. Yeah. Great point.
And then also too, looking through the bios as well, there are 3 EHS graduates. Since you're going to see a little bit later in the month of March, on March 15th, I think it's scheduled for, we're going to have another episode of the podcast up that we've talked to a couple different EHS graduates and detailing their stories. If you're looking for EHS graduates, you're thinking like whoever comes out of this place, like we know Kevin White made it to the NFL, but who else has been successful? Like what else is going on? March 8th, Lori Roth is a graduate of Emmaus High School. She's presenting. I'm just looking through my list here. There's 3. Tom Capehart on March 19th. And then Kim Metz on March 23rd. So we do have some EHS graduates that are presenting here. So, give those people a look as well too through that. So is there anything else that you want to add in about finding the stuff or adding in career readiness activities before we make our big announcement here of our contest here at the end?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that I do want to point out is part of the reason that we're doing this is also because of the career readiness activities. So if you want the visit to count towards a career readiness activity, then you do need to make sure that you do the exit survey for that on Schoology. Any point in time, if anyone has any questions about the career speakers, about the career readiness, or anything else, I really encourage them to reach out to their counselor. That's part of why we're here. And especially right now, with not being able to see our kids face to face, we want to connect. We want to make sure that we're supporting you. We want to make sure that we're answering questions. So please make sure that you reach out to your counselor if you have any questions about any of the requirements or the visit or career month, and we're more than happy to answer your questions.
So yeah, so lots of, and all your counselors, it's not just Mrs. Grimm, any one of your counselors you can reach out to with those questions. Mrs. Grimm is just the spokesperson and the lead person on this for right now, but any of your counselors can answer it no matter what grade level you're at. So I teased the big announcement here. So if you're watching the video, which I think you are, if you're during advisory or you're listening to, if you're listening to this and want to watch the video, you'll see that Mrs. Grimm and I both have on our green career readiness shirts. And there have been many people throughout the building that have claimed that these are the nicest shirts that have ever been given away in the history of Emmaus High School. And I would agree with that wholeheartedly. So we're going to give a lucky student a chance to win one of these t-shirts by getting a little bit of interaction here. So one thing that I want to do is I'm going to challenge people because I like this shirt so much. I want to wear it every day in March. So if I can get 50 likes on this video, and my subscriber number on Ninth Grade Experience podcast, which is where this is linked, to over 50, I'm going to wear this shirt every day in the month of March and take different career readiness pictures within Emmaus High School and post them on our Ninth Grade Experience Instagram and then share them with our EHS counselors. And you'll get a chance to see all the different cool stuff. So please, I want to wear this shirt every day in March. So if you get that number, I'm going to wear this and go around. I will wash it. Please don't think that it's not going to be washed. I will wash the shirt. So that's my own personal thing. Subscribe to the podcast, subscribe, to our Ninth Grade Experience Instagram, and you'll follow us. But here's where you get to participate as well too. So what we're asking you to do throughout the month of March is to take a picture and post it on whatever social media you want. Instagram, Twitter is counselors _ EHS. I think it is, right? Is it counselors _ EHS? Yeah. If you tag us in it and use the hashtag EHS Career Month, and we'll spell that out for you. So it's hashtag EHS Career Month. At the end of the month, we will take a drawing of a random student and they get to win one of these fabulous green t-shirts. And I kid you not, they are super comfortable and well worth taking pictures. So if you're going to take a picture while you're listening to one of the presenters, if you're going to take a picture while you're out working a job, maybe you're doing an internship or maybe you're at LCTI, anything that is career related during the month of March, just take a picture of it. And please make sure the pictures are school appropriate. Don't post anything that would be, objectionable, but we always have to throw that in there. But if you hashtag EHS Career Month, you have the opportunity to win one of those shirts. So we thank Mrs. Grimm for offering up one of the shirts as well. And if you are a staff member listening, we are going to do a separate contest for staff as well too. That will be available to you on your email when we give out all this information with all the different stuff. So I don't know, Mrs. Grimm, what do you think? Are we going to get some interesting pictures with that?
I'm hoping that we get some pretty interesting pictures with that. I did also want to shout out Mrs. Soboleski, who designed these shirts for us a couple of years back. But I really kind of want to see you in that shirt every day. I want to see what you pull off with being different parts of the building and, different pictures. So I'm really hoping that you get those 50 because I want to see.
So we are going to be, it's going to be socially distanced. I'm going to make sure that the masks are on, all the different stuff, all the precautions that we need to take as we're going around to do that. But I just figured it would be a fun way to kind of do Career Month since we didn't get a chance to do it in its entirety last month. We put the podcast out, and then by the time it was out, we were
Yeah.
done. So yeah. So if you see anyone around, you can, if you're going to tag people in the pictures or take pictures together, please make sure they're, appropriate, social distance, mask on, all the different stuff. We don't want anyone getting in trouble for taking pictures that are not what they should be at this time. So again, we look forward to seeing all those and your involvement in Career Month. So we'll post that, in the show notes as well too. So anything else to add in there, Mrs. Grimm?
No, just thank you, Mr. Stuchko, for doing this, and sign up for those career visits, everyone.
And then, like we said, there will be, we're going to run an episode again on March 15th that will have a couple EHS recent graduates, one who's doing her own art business and another one who is currently a state senator in Maryland. And then on the 29th, we're trying to figure out how we're going to run another one that we have some career readiness advice from a Hollywood director in an interview that I recorded a while ago, but doesn't have video. So we're going to figure that one out. So this will not be the last you hear from us during this month here of Career Readiness Month. So Mrs. Grimm, thanks a lot for all the opportunities to get this out there. And we look forward to those pictures, everybody. So send them away. #EHS Career Month. So that's it. So Thanks a lot.
Thank you.